The next thing, let's move to the configuration part. Now, in the configuration part, what we'll do is we'll see how we can make a router to do the job of a DHCP server. So assuming that we have a Cisco router, this is my Cisco router, and I want this router, which is connecting to the WAN, to the LAN. At the same time, it is also taking up the role of DHCP server, which is also assigning the IP address to all the remaining clients. So just to simulate or verify this lab, I can use a simple packet tracer tool, which can be a very good tool for verification. So I just connected some computers in the LAN on the ports. Of course, I don't have the IP addresses here, so I'm expecting they must be getting the IP address from the DHCP server. And I'm going to make the router 1 to do the job of a DHCP as well. Okay. So as per this topology, we'll try to do the configuration on the router 1, and we'll see what should be the configuration commands we need to add. Okay. As of now, I don't have any configurations. Let me just quickly check if there is any configurations present, prerequisite. I need to make sure that, because sometimes I save the diagrams with the configuration, that can be a little bit an issue. Okay. And of course, you need to have a static IP on the DHCP server, right? So you cannot expect the DHCP server to get the IP automatically. So there must be a static IP address on the DHCP server, compulsory. And the first thing what we'll do, we'll go to the router and we create the pool. So the pool creation is very simple. We just need to get into a configuration mode, and then we say IP DHCP pool. Give any name for the pool. You can just give any name. And if you use question mark, you will see there are the options what you can use inside that. Like one of the option, we need to tell what is the subnet I'm going to use. Now in my scenario, I'm using 192.168.1.subnet, assuming that is the network what I've decided to give for my company network here. And of course, we have to give the subnet mask, which is going to be /24. The subnet mask, the network we have to give. This is the minimum thing. Additional parameters, we also give the default router and the DNS, because the default router is important as per the routing. Because if this user wants to send a packet outside the network, it will go to the gateway, right? So this is my default gateway. So every device also should know the gateway address. So we'll try to tell my gateway address as well. Let's tell the gateway address. As per my lab, it is 192.168.1.100. And of course, assuming that in your company you have some DNS servers, we can add the DNS server. I don't have any DNS here, but whatever the DNS server, you can just add. Typically, this DNS servers will be on a remote network, okay, not in the local network. Most of the time, it may not be in the same network, okay, so that doesn't matter. But typically, the network should be from the same subnet, and the default router has to be on the same subnet. And finally, there are two more options. We can also add exclude addresses. Exclude is basically to tell that don't use these addresses. Because there is a possibility that in my company network, if I just go back, there might be some devices which are using the static IP. Like maybe this is my IT team, and IT team, I'm using the static IPs for them to use. And maybe a man manager also requests for a static IP, or maybe there are some servers like DHCP server, DNS server, switch. There are many devices which requires a static IP. So what we are doing, we are adding those IPs, and we have to make sure that those IPs are not given to the clients. So whatever the addresses which is statically configured, some addresses, we have to exclude them. Like the default address, default gateway is 1.100. I cannot use that. 1.50 is the DNS address. I cannot use that to any client. And likewise, assuming that I have some switches and I'm using the IP address from 1.1 to 1.10, I want to exclude them as well. Okay, I don't have 1.1 to 1.10. Just assume that they are the IPs used for switches, maybe some servers I have, FTP server, some other servers. I'm going to exclude them, which means when it is assigning the IP, it will not include those IPs to the client. That's it. Very simple configuration. If you see a simple and straightforward configuration with 5 to 6 line commands. Now going to the verification. Now for the verification, we need to go to the client devices and simply enable the DHCP. Like in the real scenarios on the real devices, we select like this. We know already on the real devices how to do. But as for the testing wise, here we have to go to our tool here. We just simply go to the device and select obtain IP automatically. So what I'm expecting it should get the IP, right? So you can see the grayed out here 1.11, or you can just go to the command prompt and check the IP addresses. So I'm expecting the first device should get the IP address 1.11, and second device also I'll do the same thing. I'm expecting 12 because 1 to 10 are excluded, and the third one as well. We are simply saying obtain the IP dynamically, and the fourth device also you can do the same thing. So you can just select the IP address and simply say DHCP. Okay. Now, if it is already configured with DHCP, you can also use ipconfig/release. A /release command will release the IP address and it will send a fresh request to renew. If I say renew option, okay. So this is another way. If you don't want, if the DHCP server is already selected, and sometimes when you're doing some troubleshooting, you want to send a fresh request, you can use this command called /release and /renew. And of course, to check the IP address, we can use the command called show ipconfig command on the CLI. Okay, that is more useful when you are doing some kind of troubleshooting. Okay, so this is one basic lab we can verify with a DHCP server, and we'll try to add some more things after this as well.